back to the England or model railway. In this video we'll be reviewing the Mainline Collett goods. This locomotive was purchased by me about a week ago from the Didcot Railway Centre for a price of £40. An excellent price for a beautifully represented model locomotive. A very worthwhile price, and to this point in time it is a very good locomotive and I would recommend it full-heartedly. With that said and done, it's time to get this model out of the box and up close and personal show off this unique locomotive's details. There she is, our Mainline Collett goods up close and personal. And the details for on its model, considering the fact that it's 45 years old, are still excellent even today. There's a lot of models, in my personal opinion, fail with some of the basic details where this loco does quite well. With the copper banding around the chimney, the safety valve on top of the boiler, the metal vessels, and the simple detail on the boiler is just well presented. This one represents the sole survivor in existence, which the real one is currently waiting boiler work at the Severn Valley Railway, and its number plate and details around the cab is quite good. The only downside to this model is the fact that there's no real cab detail, there's no firebox at all. Basically, with this model, it's pretty much where the motor is housed. So basically, if you look inside a Mainline Collett goods as this one is, there is no cab detail at all. But the details on the exterior of this locomotive is well presented excellently, and the tender is despite the fact that it's basic in its livery, is still beautifully well represented. Basic but beautiful. For sake of £40. There's a lot of more expensive models that could look up to this basic model. It may have no cab detail on the inside, but what it makes up for on its exterior details is still worthwhile. With that said and done, it's time to go on to the history of the Collett goods. The Collett goods was designed by Charles Collett, built between 1930 and 1948, with a total of 120 locomotives built. Constructed in the early 1930s, where the Great Western Railway have pretty much withdrawn or retired some of their deemed goods for the more powerful manors, granges and castles. But in some areas in Wales where locomotives such as the manors or the granges could not go, the Great Western Railway needed an 060 locomotive capable of passenger work, freight and many other tasks, where the Collett goods was shared a lot of design aspects from the Dean goods, with some examples which even share the tender from Dean goods and the frames, but with a more modern boiler and cab. These continued on quite beautifully well in service. Not many people take them very seriously these days, which is a bit of a shame. That's sadly, with that said and done, pretty much almost all of these beautiful locomotives were scrapped, apart from this one, 3205, which was preserved at the Severn Valley Railway. And this locomotive was basically the reason why the Severn Valley Railway pretty much became as successful as it was. This locomotive pretty much took part at the 150th Special Parade in the 80s. Quite excellent. As I said, this locomotive is currently waiting on work on it for its boiler at the Severn Valley. But once it's operating again, it would be a sight to behold. In other media, this locomotive is in Train Simulator Classics, if you wish to operate one of these locomotives yourselves. And the company who make that locomotive for Train Simulator is Steam Sound Supreme. I would heavily recommend you to do so if you wish. With that said and done, it's time to take this locomotive down to the track and show us what it's made of. There she is, our mainline Collett goods, ready to show us what she's made of. This is the last running session for Series 1 of Owen Glendower Model Railways. For this running session, I have decided to run our mainline Collett goods with some classic Great Western coaches. As well, because it's the last session of Series 1, I thought it would be an excellent idea to have Dinmore Manor herself, the locomotive which I did my very first review, join us on this last running session for Series 1. And she'll be also hauling some Great Western coaches. As well as that, there is a Great Western rail car. Now, with all that said and done, it's time to let these locomotives go around the track and show us how excellently they can do this job. That was a good, fun running session to remember. That concludes our review of the Mainline Collett goods, as well as this is the last episode of the England Model Railway series. I hope you all enjoyed Series 1, and in the future, after some time, we'll be back with England Model Railway Series 2. Back to the Mainline Collett goods, I would heavily recommend this locomotive to anyone. It's easily found on eBay or in many model shops around Britain. Or, who knows, it could be further. But if you find one of these locomotives for a good price, I would recommend you to buy it. It's maybe basic in its detail, but the spirit and character of this locomotive is certainly worthwhile all the time. If you liked the video, please like, share and subscribe to the Lone Ranger Motoring channel. I am really thankful for being able to make this first series of England Model Railway. With all that said and done, see you next time. That was a good, fun running session to remember. That concludes our review of the Mainline Collett goods, as well as this is the last episode of the England Model Railway series. I hope you all enjoyed Series 1, and in the future, after some time, we'll be back with England Model Railway Series 2. Back to the Mainline Collett goods, I would heavily recommend this locomotive to anyone. It's easily found on eBay or in many model shops around Britain. Or, who knows, it could be further. But if you find one of these locomotives for a good price, I would recommend you to buy it. It's maybe basic in its detail, but the spirit and character of this locomotive is certainly worthwhile all the time. If you liked the video, please like, share and subscribe to the Lone Ranger Motoring channel. I am really thankful for being able to make this first series of England Model Railway. With all that said and done, see you next time.